They entered the world together. They danced, sang, and conquered stages across Europe, together. And now they've left the world, together. Alice and Ellen Kessler, the dazzling German twins who lit up the cabarets of Paris, the television screens of Italy, and even the Ed Sullivan Show, have died at the age of 89 through joint-assisted suicide. Their passing wasn't sudden. It was a decision made with care, dignity, and above all, love. A love not romantic, but something just as deep, the kind only shared between two souls who move through life like mirror images of each other. The Kessler twins had reportedly planned their final act for over a year. They joined the German Society for Humane Dying and chose to say goodbye on a date they picked. No fear, no drama, just the peaceful exit they both wanted. Why? In their own words, the idea that one of us might get it first is very hard to bear. And if your heart just clenched a little, you're not alone. But to truly understand why their death feels like the closing scene of an old, glittering film, we need to rewind. Born in 1936 in what is now Saxony, Germany, Alice and Ellen grew up dancing. Literally, ballet school was their childhood, but their first bold move, escaping East Germany in 1952 as teenagers. Most girls their age were picking out dresses for school dances. The Kessler twins? They were fleeing a regime to chase their dreams. And chase them they did, all the way to Paris, where they became stars at the legendary Lido Cabaret. Blonde, leggy, and impossibly in sync. They were a vision of the 1950s ideal, poised but playful, elegant but electrifying. By 1959, they were representing West Germany in Eurovision. Soon after, they were regulars on The Ed Sullivan Show, posed for Life magazine, and danced their way into the arms of stars like Sinatra and Elvis. Italy, however, is where they became true legends. They were the first showgirls on Italian television, and the first women to dare show their legs on screen, though always in opaque tights. Conservative Italy wasn't ready for full-on shimmer and sass just yet, but they didn't just show their legs, they rewrote the rules. Their long limbs were famously dubbed the legs of the country. And later, they were the legs that sold out Playboy in 3 hours. Bellissima. They weren't just a novelty act. They were trendsetters, pioneers, women who knew their power and weren't afraid to shine in it. And when the spotlight faded for many, the Kesslers kept going. Theater, television, even a musical that toured until 2016. But what always made them unforgettable wasn't just the stagecraft. It was the bond. These weren't just sisters. They were a unit. They lived in 2 mirrored, connected apartments in Munich. They met every single day at noon for lunch. They shared everything, from their spotlight to their sofa cushions. And when the time came to go, they made the choice, side by side, just as they'd lived. And speaking of dazzling women who knew how to own a stage, the Kesslers remind us a bit of another iconic duo, a mother and daughter this time, whose bond and talent define generations, Judy Garland and Liza Minnelli. Judy Garland's journey to stardom is as heartbreaking as it is iconic. While we know her as the beloved Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, the reality behind her rise to fame was a grueling and despicable tale of exploitation, with a very tragic end.
Because I'm supposed to be a living legend. Is that right?
That's right.
But it's lonesome.
At just 16 years old, she landed the iconic role of Dorothy Gale. A dream role for many, but for Judy it was a nightmare in disguise.
I don't know whether people will be able to bear some of the truths.
Originally, the studio had wanted Shirley Temple for the part, so they went to great lengths to make Judy look younger. And by great lengths, we mean disturbing extremes. Her daily diet, chicken soup, black coffee, 80 cigarettes, diet pills, and amphetamines. Yes, you heard that right. They even corseted her waist and added prosthetics to alter her nose. And for Judy, the pressure to embody Dorothy didn't stop when the cameras turned off. She later shared how the public expected her to stay the same innocent girl forever, saying, "I think some of them are pretty angry with me for not dressing like Dorothy and not being 11 or 12. This role may have immortalized her, but it also trapped her in an image she could never escape.
I'm quite shy, really.
You're a quite shy person, aren't you?
Yes.
Now, as shocking as that sounds, there was even more. Remember the poppy field scene? The one with the falling snow? That snow was actually asbestos. What was meant to be a magical moment now feels chilling to watch, knowing the actors were showered in a dangerous carcinogen. So, Judy Garland's life after The Wizard of Oz was anything but the fairy tale that many imagined. In fact, it was a series of tragic, painful events that never seemed to let up. After the intense abuse she suffered in Hollywood, she tried to find some sense of stability, but it never came easy.
Well, I've wanted to be just married and happy for a long time.
She was married 5 times, but sadly none of those marriages brought her the happiness she was searching for. Her first marriage was in 1941, when she was just 19. She married composer David Rose, hoping it would give her some freedom from her controlling mother and MGM. But, as much as she hoped it would be her fairy tale ending, it wasn't. David and Judy were just too different. He was quiet and reserved while she loved to party and dance. Judy was also eager to be a mom, but when she found out she was pregnant, both her mom and David pushed her to have an abortion. That pressure, along with their differences, led to their divorce in 1944. Then came her marriage to director Vincente Minnelli in 1945. Together, they had a daughter, Liza. Yes, the Liza Minnelli.
The Wizard of Oz, to me, is what it is to everybody else. Because I certainly didn't know my mom when she was 13.
But their marriage couldn't survive the strain of Judy's struggles with depression, anxiety, and addiction to pills. After being fired from MGM, she had a nervous breakdown and even attempted to take her life twice. Their relationship crumbled, and they divorced in 1951. It's tragic to think that while Judy was enchanting the world, her own life was falling apart. Judy's third marriage was to Sidney Luft in 1952, and it lasted for 13 years, her longest one. They had 2 kids, Lorna in 1952 and Joey in 1955.
If we got into trouble, because she was so tiny, she would always say, "Sit down when I yell at you."
Sidney became her manager and helped her make a big comeback, even landing her the lead role in A Star is Born, which earned her an Oscar nomination. But as much as he tried to help, Judy's drug problems kept getting worse. By 1962, they were practically living separate lives. They eventually divorced in 1965, with Judy accusing Sidney of abuse, a claim he strongly denied. Garland didn't stay single for long. In November 1965, she married actor Mark Herron, but their marriage lasted only 3 months.
Being in love with Mark Herron is the best thing that ever happened to me.
Judy later testified that he was abusive, though he denied it, claiming it was in self-defense. After their brief marriage, Herron came out as gay and spent the rest of his life in a relationship with another actor. Her final marriage was to Mickey Deans in 1969, a man she met while he was delivering stimulants to her.
I have known my husband as long as he's known me, for about 3 years.
Their union lasted only 3 months before her untimely death, and by then, she was already battling severe health issues. As Lorna shared in her memoir, she could see her mother was dying in front of Mickey's eyes.
And what are your plans now that you're married? Go
Be
on working?
happy.
Judy's battle with substance abuse was well known. She had been reliant on pills since the age of 15, a dependency that haunted her for the rest of her life, even as she insisted she wasn't struggling.
I've never done anything. The only mistake I ever did, the only harm I ever did was sing Over the Rainbow. So I don't think that I should get any more than a traffic ticket for that. But to be called anything that is not true, I don't like it.
By the time she performed in London in 1969, her health was in a tragic decline. Some nights, she was the vibrant, powerful performer fans had always adored. Other nights, she was slurring her speech, arriving late, and being booed off stage. It was heartbreaking to watch someone so talented, so beloved, fall apart in front of the world, and no one could stop it.
I sit here and I think to myself, I'm the luckiest person in the world to have had her as my mom.
Her final performance was in Copenhagen on March 25th, 1969. Just a few months later, she tragically died from an accidental barbiturate overdose at the age of just 46. Judy Garland was undoubtedly one of Hollywood's brightest stars, but like a star that burns too fast, her light faded too soon, leaving us with the bittersweet memory of a talent that never got to reach its full potential.